Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling a hollow ache in your chest, your throat choking on a dismissive remark, a contemptuous look, or an action that trampled your personal boundaries? You remained silent to keep the peace, but when night fell, you tossed and turned until 3 a.m., continuously replaying that dialogue in your head, screaming the perfect retorts that you were unable to voice at the time. You ask yourself, why do they treat me like this? What did I do wrong? But here is the cold truth that no one tells you. You are not exhausted because others look down on you. You are exhausted because you are constantly spending all of your energy trying to excuse, prove, and explain your right to exist in front of them. Every time you try to convince someone who does not respect you that you deserve respect, you lower your own value, willingly handing over the power to govern your own mind into their hands. More than 2,000 years ago, the great Stoics, from a supreme emperor ruling the vast Roman Empire like Marcus Aurelius, to a slave in chains with a broken leg like Epictetus, discovered the ultimate spiritual weapons to become invulnerable to all the insults of life. They did not deal with it through frantic anger, nor through weak resignation. They triumphed through a higher kind of power, the absolute self-mastery of the mind. Today, we will not talk about empty, cheering advice. Together, we will unlock 5 Stoic ways to cope in order to reclaim our inner strength, build a steel fence to protect our dignity, and turn the disrespect of others into silent fuel to forge a heart of steel. Turn off all distractions, sit down in silence, and begin this journey of great psychological awakening. Part 1. The dichotomy of control and the art of separation insight. Imagine someone stepping up and hurling a venomous insult right into your face. Instantly, a fire of rage flares up within you. Your heart races, your breathing quickens, and you want nothing more than to rush into an argument to defend your honor. You believe that your opponent's insult is the direct cause of your agony and indignation, but the Stoics would shake their heads and point out a fatal flaw in this chain of reactions. The philosopher Epictetus once penned a truth that has transformed the lives of millions across the centuries. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments concerning them. When someone disrespects you, their behavior is essentially nothing more than sound waves issuing from a throat or mechanical movements in the physical world. The event in itself is entirely neutral. It is akin to a sudden downpour soaking you as you walk down the street. The rain harbors no hatred toward you, it is simply falling. The same holds true for insults or contempt. It only truly transforms into a bleeding wound the moment your mind consents to receive it, translates it into an outrage, and begins self-inflicted torture through that prejudice. To apply this very first coping mechanism, you must practice the most vital Stoic exercise, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught that life is neatly divided into 2 distinct categories: things that lie within your control and things that lie outside your control. Your thoughts, beliefs, choices, and reactions belong to the first category. The actions, words, opinions of others, and how they treat you permanently belong to the second category. Why then do you suffer when looked down upon? Because you are striving to control something you have never possessed and never will, the thoughts of others about you. When you crave respect from a despicable person, you turn yourself into a mental slave, kneeling and begging them to grant you a shred of self-worth. The next time you face a disrespectful act, instead of reacting instinctively on the spot, execute the control sort technique in precisely 2 seconds. Take a deep breath and question yourself. 1. Does this person's disrespectful behavior lie within my control? The answer is unequivocally no. But 2. Does my reaction to that behavior lie within my control? The answer is yes. When you rigorously separate these two realities, a miraculous liberation emerges. You realize that the opponent's behavior is a matter of their own moral character, not your intrinsic worth. If a blind person declares that the sky is not blue, do you fly into a rage and argue with them? No. Why then would you lose your mind when someone devoid of intellect and decency judges your value? Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every single morning that he would encounter ungrateful, selfish, and arrogant people. He chose to mentally prepare beforehand so as not to be caught off guard, and most importantly, he wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like the one who did the wrong." When you maintain your serenity in the face of provocation, you completely strip your opponent of their weapon. They desire to see you furious, screaming justifications so they can dictate your emotions. Yet when you gaze upon them with a calm, discerning gaze and silently return to your own endeavors, you stand as the ultimate victor. Maintaining inner composure is the initial step toward constructing a shield to protect your soul. Yet within this clamorous world, how do you project that strength outwardly without expending a single word of debate or defense? How do you transform your silence into a formidable power that makes your opponent wary? Let us step into the next section to explore the second method, weaponizing silence and severing the connection of explanation. Part 2. Weaponizing silence and ending apologetic justifications. There is a deeply entrenched and perilous habit that most people fall into when doubted or looked down upon. We instantly pour out thousands of explanations. I am doing this for a reason. You don't understand how this happened. Let me make myself clear. We think that offering extra context, extra reasons, and softened phrasing will help the other person understand us and, consequently, respect us more. But from a psychological and Stoic perspective, over-explanations are actually survival responses rooted in fear. It is an act of implicitly begging for permission. When you strain to explain yourself to someone who does not respect you, the true message you are sending is, "My value depends on your approval. My decisions are only valid if you find them reasonable." The more long-winded your explanation, the more you undermine your own standing. You are voluntarily stepping into an imaginary courtroom where the opponent is the judge, and you are the defendant pleading for a lenient sentence. Every single excuse you provide merely supplies them with fresh, raw material to dissect, judge, and find vulnerabilities to attack you with. The philosopher Epictetus delivered a piercing and direct piece of advice. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Stoic silence is not the aggrieved, sullen silence of the weak who swallow their bitterness. It is the deeply self-respecting, mature, and proactive silence of someone who knows precisely who they are and refuses to participate in other people's cheap power games. Every time you remain silent in the face of a provocative question or a defiant act, you create a massive mental vacuum. It forces the opponent to confront their own rudeness and shallowness, rather than dragging you down into the mud of an argument with them. Listen to the story of Epictetus and his stolen iron lamp. Epictetus lived in a bare room, his only precious possession being an iron lamp used for reading at night. One evening, a thief snuck in and stole the lamp. Upon discovering the theft, Epictetus did not fly into a rage, scream for justice, or explain to those around him the injustice he had suffered. He simply smiled and quietly bought a cheap clay lamp to replace it. When people expressed surprise at his utter indifference, he calmly replied, "The thief paid too high a price for that lamp. To get an iron lamp, he turned himself into a thief. I only lost a physical object, while he lost his dignity and character." Who is the one truly suffering a loss here? This is the pinnacle of mental self-mastery. You protect your energy by refusing to spend it on meaningless disputes. Starting today, learn to speak in short, definitive statements and bravely stop right there. When your boundaries are challenged, you do not need to deliver a lengthy thesis explaining why you refuse or why you act as you do. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, I can't go tonight because I'm so busy this week. I'm tired and have a lot of things to take care of. I hope you understand." Say directly and calmly, "I won't be able to join tonight. Thank you." Speak a single, clear, polite sentence that respects yourself. Then remain silent and let that silence do its work. Do not rush to fill the quiet void with words that soothe the other person's emotions. Let them process their own confusion or disappointment. That steadfast composure is a steel-clad message to the world that your backbone cannot be easily shaken by a judgment or a condescending attitude. Yet silence does not mean endless endurance. There are sacred boundaries that, unless you actively trace out with iron limits, will lead others to assume they have the right to trample over your life. How do you establish a boundary as firm as a fortress without needing to become aggressive or hateful? Let us move on to the third method, establishing ironclad boundaries without appeasement. Part 3. Establishing steel-bound boundaries without appeasement. Most of us harbor a deep-seated fear, the fear of being disliked, of being perceived as selfish or cold-hearted when we say no to others. Driven by this fear, we continuously yield. We allow colleagues to dump their workload onto us simply because they ask for a favor politely. We sit in silence for hours listening to a friend unload toxic complaints about their life, even though we feel completely mentally drained afterward. We brush off inappropriate jokes directed at our appearance or personal life with a smile just to avoid making the atmosphere of a gathering awkward. We call it kindness, tolerance, and compassion. Yet, Stoic philosophy calls it self-betrayal. Compassion devoid of protective structures swiftly leads to exhaustion. Kindness without boundaries is, in reality, merely weakness disguised in the cloak of virtue. Emperor Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself in his journal, Meditations, "Do not let your mind be dragged in every direction by the chaotic demands from outside." The Stoics understood that energy, time, and inner peace are profoundly scarce and finite resources. If you do not decide for yourself how to invest those resources in alignment with your core values, others will gladly spend them on your behalf to serve their own comfort. What then is a true boundary in the Stoic tradition? Philosopher Eric from Stoic Coffee Break offered a profoundly insightful definition. Boundaries are not about telling other people what to do or not to do. Boundaries are a clear declaration of what your own action will be in a given situation. In other words, a boundary is neither an ultimatum nor a coercive threat designed to force others to change their behavior. You cannot control how they conduct themselves, but you have absolute control over and declare how you will respond to their behavior. To forge a steel-bound boundary that protects your sovereign self, apply this three-step Stoic process. Step 1. Clearly identify what aligns and what does not align with your life values. You must ask yourself, what am I willing to accept and what will I never tolerate under any circumstances? Write it down clearly in your mind. Step 2. Decide on the specific action you will take to safeguard that boundary. Remember, this step focuses entirely on your actions, not theirs. Example, if this person continues to speak to me in a condescending tone, I will stand up and leave the room. Not, I will force them to apologize and speak kindly to me. Step 3. Communicate that boundary calmly, directly, and without the need for justification. You have zero obligation to defend yourself, and you owe no one an apology or an elaborate explanation for your decision to protect your own peace. Listen to the calm and resolute tone embedded in these boundary-setting statements. I would love to help you, but right now, I do not have the mental space to process this with you. I do not consent to continuing this conversation if we cannot maintain a baseline of mutual respect. I have thought this decision through carefully, and it is right for me. I do not wish to discuss it any further. When you begin to utter these words with a tranquil demeanor, entirely free of anger or resentment, you will witness a natural purification taking place within your relationships. Those who genuinely cherish you will instinctively adjust their behavior to honor your boundaries. Conversely, those who merely seek to exploit your vulnerability will display anger and indignation, accusing you of being cold and arrogant. Do not fear that resistance. Their pushback does not prove that you are wrong. It merely proves that your boundary is functioning effectively, stripping away their entitlement to profit off your life for free. Drawing a boundary is how you ensure that those who disregard you cannot trespass upon your external world. But what if they deploy a more sophisticated weapon, malicious judgments or crude criticisms aimed squarely at your competence or your character? How do you face those poisoned arrows without sustaining injury, and even transform them into a forge for your inner fortitude? Let us step forward into the fourth approach, the alchemical art of handling criticism. Part 4. The alchemical art of handling criticism. Many of us harbor a deeply sensitive psychological wound. We are excessively preoccupied with what others think and say about us. When subjected to criticism or judgment, our automatic reaction is to instantly bristle up in self-defense, argue fiercely to prove the other person wrong, or sink deep into self-doubt and anxious rumination all day long. We suffer because we have committed a grave error, outsourcing our self-esteem into the mouths of others. You let a single remark from a stranger dictate whether your day is joyful or sorrowful, whether you possess worth or are completely useless. Yet, Stoic philosophy offers a completely inverted perspective, a true form of mental alchemy. Philosopher Seneca faced a brutal life-or-death situation in the year 65 AD, when Emperor Nero, his former pupil, ordered him to take his own life. In the final hours of his existence, while his friends wept bitterly and raged against the injustice, Seneca maintained an extraordinary composure. He gently asked them, "Where are our philosophical principles? Where has our hard-earned training of reason against adversity vanished to?" Seneca understood that not even death, slander, or the betrayal of an emperor could harm the noble sanctuary of his soul and his inner virtue, unless he himself permitted that weakness to invade his mind. To a Stoic, the criticisms of others are merely external objective data to be evaluated, not a verdict upon your human worth. Epictetus once taught his students a profoundly insightful practice for when people spoke ill of them behind their backs. If anyone speaks ill of you, do not try to make excuses or argue. Smile instead and tell them, "They must not know about my other faults, otherwise they would not have mentioned only these few trivial things." This is neither cheap sarcasm nor cynical irony. This is the pinnacle of self-awareness and Stoic humility. When you possess an exceptionally rigorous internal standard to evaluate yourself every day through journaling and self-inquiry, you no longer crave the applause of the crowd to feel valuable, nor will you collapse in the face of malicious criticism. Next time you receive a reprimand or a disrespectful glance, apply Emperor Marcus Aurelius's technique of separating the event from the interpretation, plain description. Use your sharp reason to dissect the other person's words into two distinct parts. 1. The verified fact, objective event. What exact words did they use? Is there any part that genuinely reflects a real mistake on your part. 2. Personal prejudice, subjective interpretation, the anger, condescension, or insult accompanying those words. If the criticism holds a grain of truth, calmly accept it as invaluable data to correct yourself and become better. Thank the other person for pointing out your blind spot. Conversely, if the criticism is entirely absurd, stemming from the other person's envy, anger, or mental limitations, let it stand outside the gates of your inner fortress. That is their problem, not yours. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "They have their opinion, let them keep it. My duty is to act the part of a good human being, calm and free of malice." When you accomplish this, you transform the poisoned arrows of disrespect into a magnificent opportunity to forge the two noblest Stoic virtues, self-mastery and steadfast courage. The alchemy of criticism helps you stand resolute amidst the petty frictions of daily life. Yet, life sometimes thrusts us into much more painful trials, when those around us, whether a lover, longtime friends, or business partners, repeatedly perpetrate disrespectful behaviors against you time and time again, despite their sweet promises to change. Should you continue to forgive infinitely just to appear magnanimous? This is where we touch the pinnacle of Stoic decisiveness and fortitude. Let us step into the fifth approach, the climax and most valuable lesson of this video, cutting off access and stopping infinite second chances. Part 5. Cutting off access and stopping infinite second chances. Forgiveness is constantly praised in society as humanity's highest virtue. We are taught to always be magnanimous, to keep our hearts open, and to grant others a second, third, or even 10th chance to prove they have changed. Yet Stoic philosophy, being an intensely practical and precise discipline, draws a cold, sharp line between wise altruism and self-destructive blindness. Philosopher Seneca once issued a stern warning in his letters to his friend Lucilius. We often suffer repeatedly, not because life is cruel, but because we refuse to learn from the empirical evidence of the past. When someone disrespects you the first time, it might be an oversight, a mistake born of ignorance. You may forgive them and re-establish your boundaries. But when they continue to repeat that contemptuous behavior a second or third time, despite tearful apologies and sweet promises, it is no longer an unintentional error. It is a behavioral pattern. It is how they consciously choose to treat you, because they know that no matter how severely they wound you, you will invariably soften and find excuses to excuse them. Marcus Aurelius once posed a deeply profound self-inquiry. It is madness to expect people to act otherwise than their nature permits. A narcissist or an egoist who habitually violates your boundaries will never change simply because you treat them kindly or explain how deeply they have hurt you. Their apologies are merely emotional manipulation tools designed to regain access to your life, allowing them to continue draining your time, energy, and peace of mind. Combating this toxic pattern requires a steely courage. Decisively cut off emotional access and establish a permanent distance. You may forgive them mentally to liberate yourself from toxic resentment. Indeed, a Stoic harbors no malice and seeks no petty revenge, but forgiveness does not mean continuing to grant them a place in your life. You may wish them peace and growth, but from a completely safe distance where they will never again have the opportunity to compromise your dignity. This resolute departure is neither an act of anger, retaliation, nor a deliberate attempt to punish the other party. It is an act of reverence for your own dignity. It is your declaration to your subconscious mind, I value my life and my peace far more than the artificial comfort of a toxic relationship. No loud announcements, no lengthy arguments, No dramatic, high-tension scenes. Simply withdraw your energy, retreat in silence, and vanish from their lives like a ghost. That resolute silence is the most resounding response, the ultimate steel-bound boundary that teaches them access to your life is a precious privilege, and they have permanently forfeited it through their disrespect. Awakening and the creation of self-worth. We have journeyed through a profound 30-minute odyssey, stripping away the layers to master 5 unassailable ways to handle those who disregard you. 1. The dichotomy of control and the art of separating interpretations. 2. Weaponizing silence and putting an end to justification. 3. Establishing steel-bound boundaries without appeasement. 4. The alchemical art of transforming criticism into the fuel of self-mastery. 5. Cutting off access and stopping infinite second chances. Yet now, as the candle grows dim and this video draws to a close, I wish to hand you an ultimate truth, the key that unlocks the psychological prison that has held you captive for far too long. The ultimate goal of Stoic philosophy and this journey of forging inner fortitude has never been about finding a way to force everyone around you to respect you. Whether others respect you or not, forever lies entirely outside your control. If you spend your entire life optimizing your behavior just to make others fear or admire you, you remain nothing more than a hired servant working for their approval. The true objective is to become someone who no longer requires any external validation to recognize your own inherent worth. When you construct an unyielding inner citadel, built upon discipline and living in alignment with the core Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, you will stand firm like a lighthouse amid a vast ocean. The tempestuous winds of disrespect may howl, and malicious gossip may surround you, but they can never extinguish your beacon. They merely prove its indestructible strength. Marcus Aurelius once posed a piercing rhetorical question to conclude his journal. Why do you seek your happiness in the opinions of others, when you can fashion it entirely from your own soul? You are the sole author empowered to write the value of your life. Do not hand that pen to anyone else. From this day forward, walk with the proud posture of a self-governing individual, calm amidst every storm, steadfast against every judgment, and let your virtuous, radiant life serve as the single most resounding explanation to the entire world. If you are ready to commit to walking this cold yet glorious path, leave your spiritual mark in the comments section with the declaration, "I choose to respect myself." That is not merely a string of words written for amusement. It is a fierce manifesto ushering in your personal era of inviolability. Thank you for dedicating these precious moments to deep reflection with me today. Be sure to hit subscribe to walk alongside me through the next chronicles of forging a steely inner strength. Walk with calm, unyielding conviction, stand firm, and never bow your head to offer excuses.